Once upon a time, in a bright town lived a wise merchant with 6 children, 3 sons and 3 daughters. The youngest was so gentle and lovely that from her first days everyone called her Beauty. Their father gave them learning and good guidance, and the home rang with easy laughter and morning light on the windows. Kind hearts see clearly where eyes alone cannot truly see. The 2 older sisters grew proud. They liked grand halls, music at balls, and the glitter of chandeliers. They wished to marry dukes and earls, and turned away from simple folk. Beauty loved quieter things. She read for hours, the pages whispering under her fingers. She sang softly and played the harpsichord until the notes drifted like birds at dusk. Many suitors came, but she thanked them kindly and said she was still young and happy to stay with her dear father. Then a change came. The merchant lost his fortune. The city house emptied, and only a small cottage in the country remained. The older sisters fretted, but Beauty wrapped a shawl around her father's shoulders and spoke gently. They set out together along a rutted lane, where the fields were wide and the air smelled of clean grass after rain. Life at the cottage was plain and good. The father and sons tilled the earth with steady hands. Beauty woke at dawn to sweep, cook, and keep the house bright. At first, her arms ached, and the pail's handle pressed into her palms. Soon she grew strong. Bread browned in the oven with a warm, sweet scent, and the wash water steamed softly in the cool morning. When the work was done, she read, sang, played, and spun wool with a quiet hum. Her sisters idled and sighed at the window, but the days still moved peacefully on. A year passed. News came like a spark. The merchant's ship had reached port at last. Hope stirred. The older sisters made proud requests: a crimson silk gown, ribbons, and pretty trinkets. Beauty smiled and asked for only a single rose, for none grew in their green valley. Their father kissed her brow and set off, the letter crackling in his pocket and the gate creaking behind him in the crisp air. In the city, troubles tangled his business like knotted string. He left as poor as before. On the road home, a storm swept in. Snow dusted his cloak, and the wind sang in the trees. Just when fear pricked at him, a long line of windows shone ahead. A great palace stood bright and still, as if it waited just for him. In the open stable, his tired horse found oats and dry straw. Inside, a small table was set for one. He took a little chicken and a warm drink, and soon slept under a soft quilt, while the wind faded to a whisper. Morning brought fresh clothes laid neatly by the bed. In the garden, flowers opened their faces to the pale sun, and the air smelled of roses. He sipped a cup of chocolate and murmured thanks to the kind fairy he could not see. Then he remembered Beauty's wish. He reached for a single dewy rose. A deep voice rolled through the garden. "Ungrateful man, I sheltered you and you steal my rose." The merchant bowed and begged pardon. "It is for my youngest daughter, who asked for nothing else." The voice, stern yet steady, answered, "I cannot let you go unless you return with one of your daughters. She must come by her own will and offer her life in your place. If not, you must return yourself within 3 months. Fill a chest with anything you need here and go." The merchant shivered in the cool air, the rose's scent soft and sweet in his hand, and promised to obey. He rode home with a heavy heart and a quiet chest of treasures, saying little so no one would be tempted to rush back for riches. He told his family the truth and gave Beauty the rose. She touched its petals and lifted her chin. "Then I shall go in his place." Her brothers wished to fight, but their father would not hear of it. At dawn, father and daughter traveled through silver mist to the palace. The beast, for so the owner of the voice was, greeted them kindly in a great hall. "Have you come of your own free will?" he asked. "Yes," Beauty said, her voice calm. The beast sent the father home at daybreak with gentle warning never to return, and the old man's quiet footsteps faded on the smooth stone. Beauty stood alone a moment and let herself cry a little. Then she began to look about. She found a door with her name carved upon it. Inside was a bright room, a fine bed, a warm hearth, a harpsichord, and a library whose shelves rose like trees. On an open page, letters of gold seemed to speak. "Welcome, Beauty. Be without fear. You are mistress here. Ask your wish, and it shall be done." She whispered that she wished to know about her father. At once, a mirror glowed like still water and showed him safe at the cottage, sipping broth by the fire. Days fell into a gentle pattern. Meals appeared warm and fragrant, and in the evenings, silent concerts filled the air with tender strings. Each night, as the clock chimed 9, the beast came to dine. "Do you find me very ugly?" he asked once, his voice low as a drum. "You are kind," Beauty said. "It is the heart that matters." He listened closely to her words, remembered her favorite stories, and tried always to please. Each night he asked softly if she would marry him, and each night she thanked him and said no with care in her voice. Still, she grew glad of his company, as candlelight steadied and music stirred the quiet air.
It is warm.
At last, Beauty asked to visit her father. The beast agreed at once. "Go," he said, "but promise to return in a week." He gave her a ring and told her to place it on her bedside table before sleep, to go or to come back. In the morning, she woke in her own little room at the cottage. Joy rose like birdsong. A trunk full of gowns and neat shoes had arrived as if by magic. But Beauty put on the simplest dress. Her sisters came with their husbands. The eldest's husband was fine to look at, but was taken with his mirror. The second's husband made jokes that were not kind. The sisters, seeing Beauty's calm happiness, begged her to stay a little longer. They kissed her and pressed her hands. The fire crackled. Tea steamed. Silk rustled as they embraced. Beauty's tender heart yielded. She promised one more week. On the 10th night, Beauty dreamed the beast lying by the garden canal, pale with sorrow. She woke with a cry, the room wrapped in midnight hush, and her heart beating like a small drum. Kind hearts see clearly where eyes alone cannot truly see. She touched the cool ring, placed it on the bedside table, closed her eyes, and asked to return at once. She opened her eyes in the quiet palace and dressed quickly in a soft gown to greet him. When the clock chimed 9, the hall stayed still. Panic fluttered like wings in her chest. She ran through moonlit rooms and into the garden, where the water in the canal glimmered dark and the air smelled of damp leaves. There, on the grass, lay the beast, very weak. "Seeing you again lets me die content," he whispered. Beauty knelt, tears bright in the lantern glow. "Please do not leave me. I cannot live without you. I wish to be your companion, your wife." At her words, light swept through the garden like dawn. Music rose, soft and bright. Before her stood not a monster, but a noble young prince. He took her hands, warm and real. "A fairy's spell made me appear as a beast," he said. "Only when a woman loved me for my goodness, not my face, would it end. Your kindness has broken it." At that moment, the fairy from Beauty's dreams appeared in a shimmer, bringing Beauty's father and the whole family. Bells chimed as light as blossoms. The fairy blessed their union and promised Beauty would be a great queen and keep her gentle heart. The two older sisters, whose envy had stung their days, were changed into quiet statues at the palace gate, not to harm them, but to give them time to think, until they learned to admit their faults and grow kind. The rose bushes rustled softly, as if in agreement, and the night air smelled sweet. Kind hearts see clearly where eyes alone cannot truly see. Beauty married the prince. They lived many happy years, ruling with fairness and care. In gardens full of roses and birdsong, they often walked hand in hand, while sunlight warmed the paths. And so their days ended gently, with the simplest truth tucked close. Love looks at the heart.